We are in a cave in the city of Yodefat. Yodefat is located in the Galilee, a little bit north of Tzipori. Yodefat was a fortified city in the time of the Second Temple. The commander of the rebellion in the Galilee, Yosef ben Matityahu, he came to this city, to Yodefat. We saw Bet Horon. We've been in Bet Horon. The Jewish rebels succeeded to defeat Castius Gallus, and after the Jewish victory, the Roman Caesar, Neron Caesar, he decided to bring half of the Roman army in order to oppress the Jewish rebellion. He sent the chief commander of the Roman army, Aspasianus, with his son Titus to Eretz Israel, to the land of Israel. And Aspasianus with the Roman army came to Akko, and from there, from Akko, he started to move, and he came to Yodefat. Tzipori surrendered, but Yodefat was the place of the first battle. For almost 50 years, the Jewish fighters, the Jewish rebels, fought courageously against the Roman army. Only after almost 2 months, the Roman army succeeded to enter the city and slaughtered the Roman soldiers, slaughtered, killed almost all the people, all the fighters that were here in Yodefat. Only 40 fighters survived the massacre. One of them was the commander of the Galilee, Yosef ben Matityahu. They came to this cave, and here, most of them, 38, decided to commit suicide. They did not want to become slaves of the Roman Empire, to be humiliated by the Roman army. So they decided to kill themselves. Yosef ben Matityahu was the last one here in this cave. He decided not to commit suicide. He decided to surrender in order to become the historian, the writer of the history of the Jewish rebellion. He writes in his book that he felt that this is a divine mission to tell the story of the Jewish rebellion, to tell the story of the greatest war in which courage, devotion, Mesirut Nefesh was expressed by the Jewish people in its struggle with the Roman Empire. And this is what happened. He became the historian. He wrote at least 3 books in which he described the Jewish history and especially the war with the Roman Empire. Almost everything that we tell in this series, and in the book Megillat HaMered VaHurban, the scroll of rebellion and destruction, everything is based on the writings of Yosef ben Matityahu. Thanks to him, we know so much about this great chapter in Jewish history. But in spite of the fact that Yodefat was defeated, was conquered, and there was massacre here, the Jewish rebels did not give up, did not surrender. From here, Aspasianus had to continue to the next site near the Sea of the Galilee, and there he had to fight with another city, Migdal, Tracheus, Trachei. So from this place, from Yodefat, let's go to the next site, to the next battle in the Great Rebellion, Migdal, near the Sea of the Galilee. Come with me to Migdal, and there, near Tiberias, and there we shall tell the story of the next battle in the Great Rebellion. Come with me. We are now standing on the northern coast of Lake Kinneret, of the Lake of the Galilee. Next to us, Kibbutz Ginosar, and in the background we can see Migdal. In the time of the Second Temple, there was a Jewish city here, Migdal. After Yodefat was defeated, all the Jewish rebels came to this city, to Migdal. Tens of thousands of Jewish soldiers, rebels, came to this city, the city of Migdal, and here they tried to stop the Roman army. Titus, with the Roman army, succeeded to enter the city. But in spite of the fact that the Roman army was inside the city, the Jewish soldiers did not surrender. They prepared tens of boats along the shore of the Kinneret, and they succeeded to break through the Roman soldiers, the Roman army, went to the boats, and with the boats went to the Kinneret. The Roman army was surprised. They did not prepare themselves for a battle in the sea. They prepared for several weeks. They prepared rafts. And after they prepared the rafts, which were made from the trees surrounding the city of Migdal, they went with the rafts into the Kinneret, and for a whole day there was fierce battle between the Jewish boats and the rafts of the Roman army. After, in the end of the day, the historian Josephus tells us that in the end of the day, the Kinneret became red with the blood of the Jewish soldiers. Thousands of Jewish soldiers were killed here. The rest of the population was taken by Titus to Tiberias. There he killed all the men, and the women and children were taken to slavery and to prostitution. In spite of the bitter end, in spite of the fact that the Jews here were defeated, the Jewish rebels, the Jewish soldiers did not surrender. They decided to continue fighting. And the next battle took place on the mountains of Golan, in the city of Gamla. Come with me to the city of Gamla on the Golan height, and there we shall tell the story of the last battle in the Galilee. Let's go to the Golan, to Gamla. Come with me. This is what we see here, is the northern tower, or the round tower. As we have said, the Roman army did not succeed. to enter into the city. All the attempts of the Roman soldiers to enter the city of Gamla failed. But one night, after several weeks of fighting, few Roman soldiers came from top of the mountain. The Roman camp was on top of that mountain, came from the mountain and succeeded to reach to the bottom of this tower, and they took out few big stones and the tower collapsed. After it collapsed, hundreds of Roman soldiers entered the city, and the war started inside, not outside, but inside the city. For a whole day, the Jewish soldiers, the Jewish fighters fought courageously. 4,000 were killed. In the end of the day, they understood that they have no chance to defeat the Roman army. They understood that they have no hope, and all the people of the city, about 5,000 people, men, women, and children, went up to the edge of the cliff, and there they made the dramatic decision. We shall tell about their decision when we go to the end, to the edge of the cliff of Gamla. Come with me, and we shall tell the story there on top of the mountain of Gamla. Let's go. We are now in the synagogue of Gamla. Gamla is located on the mountains of Golan, and this is the synagogue of Gamla, built in the time of the Second Temple. We can see the benches surrounding the synagogue. One of the indications that this is really a synagogue, next to the synagogue there is a mikveh. Before prayer, they used in the time of the Second Temple to go to the mikveh and then into the synagogue. This synagogue is the main synagogue of the city of Gamla on the Golan Heights. To this city, all the refugees from the battles in the Galilee, in Yodefat, in Tiberias, in Migdal, Trechea, all the refugees came to this city in order to continue fighting with the Roman army. The Roman army indeed came and located its camp on top of the mountain next to the city of Gamla. In spite of the fact that they tried very hard for several weeks to conquer the city of Gamla, the Roman army did not succeed. They failed time after time. The Jewish rebels, the Jewish fighters in Gamla, they understood very well that every day that they keep the Roman army here, they give time for the soldiers in Jerusalem to prepare for the siege, for the war in Jerusalem. And the Romans did not succeed. After several weeks, something happened. Several soldiers, Roman soldiers, succeeded to take out stones from the tower located in the northern part of the city, and the tower collapsed. It created for the Roman army a chance to enter the city, and I invite you to come with me to the northern tower to see the place where the Roman army succeeded to enter the city of Gamla, and from there we shall describe the last battle in Gamla. Come with me to the northern tower. We are now on top of the mountain of Gamla. We have been next to the northern tower. The Roman army entered the city through the northern tower that collapsed, and battles began. Fighting, the Jews fought against the Romans from house to house, from street to street. They did not surrender. Thousands of Jewish fighters were killed in these battles. After a long day of fighting, the Jewish soldiers understood that they have no chance, no hope to defeat the Roman army. All the people who remained after that long day of fighting came up to this area, to the top of the mountain, and here they prayed, finished their prayer by calling Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, and jumped to the wadi. We see that canyon, that wadi, and they jumped, and all of them died. They preferred to die as free men and not as slaves of the Roman Empire. They knew that if they surrender, all the fighters, all the soldiers will be immediately killed, and the women, the children and the women, will be taken as prostitutes to the camps of the Roman army. And they decided to remain free, to die as free and pure Jews. All of them, about 5,000 people, died here. Altogether, 9,000 people were killed in Gamla. This was the end of the war in the northern part of the land, in the Galilee. Now, Aspasianus, the commander of the Roman army, could continue to Jerusalem. We are now in the port of Jaffa. We can see the boats here. Most of them are being used until this day by fishermen. In the time of the Great Rebellion, one of the greatest and most important battles took part in this harbor, in this city. After Aspasianus finished conquering and defeating the Jewish rebels in the Galilee, we have been in Yodefat, Migdal, and Gamla. He goes southward to Jerusalem. But for Jerusalem, the port of Jerusalem is not Akko anymore. He has to use the port of Jaffa. But here, Jaffa was a Jewish city. Most of the Jewish inhabitants of Jaffa were fishermen with boats, and they succeeded to make the boats into fighting boats, and they succeeded to stop the Roman navy, the Roman ships, from coming to Jaffa. Aspasianus understood that he has no choice but to come to Jaffa and defeat the Jewish navy. He succeeds to conquer the city, and most of the Jewish fighters took the boats and went to the sea. And here, on the shore of Jaffa, one of the most important battles took place. The Jewish fighters with the boats tried to stop the Roman boats, the Roman ships from coming to the shore. But all of a sudden, a storm caused the boats, the Jewish boats, which were very small, they were forced by the wind of the storm, to go back to the shore. And here, the Roman soldiers succeeded to kill most of the Jewish fighters. More than 4,000 soldiers, Jewish soldiers, were killed here in Jaffa. After the Roman army succeeded to defeat the Jewish army, the Jewish soldiers in Jaffa, the Roman ships could enter the port of Jaffa and bring equipment to the Roman army in Jerusalem. And here, from this moment, the siege of Jerusalem began. Come with me to Jerusalem, and there we shall tell the story of the siege and the war in Jerusalem. Let's go to Jerusalem.